Hello, and welcome to another edition of One Bad Veggies Root Beer Review, where in this review, we go ahead and see if Saranac has a knack for root beer. So, of course, the first thing I had to do was check to make sure that the root beer is actually pronounced Saranac, because, I mean, it could have been pronounced anything really, but I did confirm this. And the other thing, too, is Saranac is, it's a fairly common root beer. This is actually a re-review. I reviewed this one in the past on the old blog, but yeah, this is, you don't see it a lot in grocery stores or anything like that, but you do see it at soda shops or candy shops and stuff like that. Or like, you know, sometimes you go into a place and they have a big wall of glass bottle sodas. I don't like, just soda areas. I don't know what you really call that, but novelty sodas. I don't know. Anyway, they but yeah, you usually find Saranac in places like that, and it's usually I can think of like maybe like 3 or 4, Sioux City, Saranac. I'm not gonna start naming sodas, but basically they're pretty much like the ones you can almost guarantee that are always going to be in a place like that. So it's not hard to find, but hey, that's what the review is for, to see if you even want to bother finding it. So let's go ahead and start with the ingredients. So of course, let's go ahead and start with the ingredients, which will appear right there. And right off the bat, first thing that's definitely something to notice about it is using high fructose corn syrup, which, you know, I've talked a little bit about this. You put high fructose corn syrup in something, it's always going to be sweeter than pure cane sugar. It just is going to be every single time. So we can already gauge that this is going to be a sweeter root beer, which usually means good things for me. But the problem is that sometimes with high fructose corn syrup, it can leave a strange aftertaste in your mouth because it's, you know, not actually sugar. It's whatever. It's high fructose corn syrup. That's what it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bottle here. I did notice that I was looking at old pictures of the old bottle. The root beer actually hasn't changed that much as far as just the labeling and stuff, just like fonts, but kind of the colors and stuff like that have mostly remained the same. Get a closer look at it there, but it's a pretty basic one. The only real big difference that I've noticed since the last time I had it, because I think my review is from before 2017, is that it does have a little label here that talks about how it is voted the best root beer in the 2017 U.S. Open Beer Championship. Open Beer Championship, not Open Root Beer Championship. Open Beer Championship. So that's interesting. So anyway. We can go ahead and see if 5 years on from winning their championship, if they deserve that title to begin with. So let's go ahead and crack this open and get a little bit of a sniff. Let's go ahead and crack this one open and see what the scent is like. Easy. So right away, exactly what I said. Sweet. Smell root beer. Smell sweet, sugary flavors. Maybe a hint of vanilla. But a lot of the kind of other accents that usually come with root beer aren't necessarily there. Not that that's a bad thing, because those are usually the anise and licorice and stuff like that. And as it's well known, it's not my favorite part of root beer. So the scent is pleasant. I can definitely say that. And so I'm getting a pretty good idea of what we're dealing with here. So let's go ahead and check the pour and the foam. So here we are. We've got the trusty mug here. And one thing I specifically remember about Saranac root beer is it had a tall, frothy head of foam on it. So I'm curious if it still has that. In my years of doing this root beer reviewing stuff, between this and the blog, I've noticed that sometimes root beers can be wildly different between different times that you've had it. So let's go ahead. We already cracked this open. Let's go ahead and check the pour in the foam. I mean, so far, yeah. I mean, look at that. Still exactly how I remember it. Look at that. That's tall. That's tall. All right. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to finish filling this in a second because this foam's just going to last so long. Still, all the way to the top. All the way to the top. It's barely even halfway. That's impressive. That's impressive. That is picturesque. That is what you want a root beer to look like. That is fantastic. Anyway, let's see how it tastes. Oh my. Very creamy. Very creamy. That hint of vanilla that you kind of smell. It's almost kind of like, it almost tastes like when you have a root beer float and you've eaten all the ice cream out of it, and now you have that like root beer vanilla ice cream soup. It kind of tastes like that. A little bit different because there is a little bit of something to it. I'm not sure what it is. I don't want to call it bite, but there is almost like a bitterness in the aftertaste. But yeah, like when you first take that first sip of the foam. Not that a lot of people drink the foam, but it is something to think about. Is that like, yeah, that's very interesting. Usually the foam tends to be either kind of boring or just kind of like, but I have noticed that there are a few root beers out there where the scent that hits you when you kind of open it, or maybe some of the background scents, I should say, really hits you hard when you try to drink the foam. And so yeah, this is one of those cases, and it's not bad. It's quite enjoyable. So let's go ahead and get into the taste test, because so far so good. So it's actually been a few minutes now since I started pouring it. Well, I shouldn't say minutes. It's been a couple minutes. But look at that. Look at that. That's intense. That's an intense amount of foam. And frankly, I'm all here for it. But now it's the taste test. Let's see how the root beer tastes. You know how they have day-long IPAs that you're supposed to kind of like sip for a while? No, I'm not saying that that's what this is. I'm just saying that there's a lot to it. And then also with the foam, it's and it is exactly as sweet as I thought it was going to be, right? It does, however, have what I was a little bit afraid of, is a little bit of an aftertaste because of the high fructose corn syrup. I'm assuming it's because of the high fructose corn syrup, just because in my experience, that seems to be the connecting factor between sometimes bad aftertaste and not bad aftertaste. However, I will say that it's after the fact. Like when you first take your drink, you taste all the flavors that you're looking for. This one being particularly, like I said, sugary. It's almost cola like a little bit, the bite to it. Not a bad thing at all. I actually kind of like that. I'm actually still working on it right now. And again, this is no negative thing. This is actually a positive thing in this case, because I'm really kind of enjoying it. But it almost there's almost a heaviness to it. And like I said, it's a positive thing. I'm saying this as a good thing, if it's what you're looking for, of course. I don't usually drink during the taste test, but well, I drink, you know what I mean. Anyway. So the notes that I'm noticing is like, it is very sweet. It is got a very basic kind of root beer flavor to it, but on the back end, you do get hit with vanilla, which I love that. On the other hand, once the vanilla fades away, that's when you kind of get your bitter aftertaste. However, everything up until that point is really great. It's definitely one of those root beers where it's just like, it's hard to review a root beer like this because there's very little negative things to say about it. But we're going to go ahead and let's just go ahead and get into the letter grade, because I think I know what I'm giving this one. So what to grade this one? It's difficult because I'm not really finding any like real problems with it. Like I said, my feelings about it are 98% positive, right? Now, it doesn't do anything out of this world that would give it an A, right? And it does have a little bit of a bitter aftertaste. However, the stuff that it is doing very well. I also noticed too that if you are looking for that anise licorice flavor, it is there. It's just kind of on the back end along with the vanilla, I noticed as I kind of finished off the drink. But it's not overpowering in any way. In fact, both of those flavors, it's kind of a nice balance, because you have, when you're taking your drink, you're getting the kind of sarsaparilla kind of flavors. And then on the back end, you're getting your vanilla and anise, but those don't overpower it while you're drinking it at the same time. Anyway, all that to say is that I'm going to give this one a B, but again, and I've said this before, if I had something higher than something between a B and an A, if I had a B plus, I'd probably give this a B plus. It's so close to being an A. And that's actually surprising to me. I really did not expect for something to have that had, uses high fructose corn syrup to scale that high. In fact, if this was using cane sugar, I don't know if it would rate the same, because it would completely change the flavor of it. You wouldn't have that bitter aftertaste, but would it be as sweet? And if it wasn't as sweet, anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is that this one gets a B. And that's it for this review. So of course, feel free to like and subscribe. And as I've said before, I have a Twitch channel if you want to go ahead and follow me on there. That way, if I'm ever doing any video game or Gunpla live broadcasts, you can go ahead and watch those as well. And that's really it for the time being. So I hope you had a good time.